Now, Lebanon's health ministry says Israel's attacks on Lebanon have killed more than 3,000 people and injured more than 13,000 others since October last year. As Israel continues its intense bombardment of Lebanon, one of the main cities in the south, Nabatieh, is now largely empty. Israel ordered the entire city to evacuate in early October. Despite this, the city's main hospital remains open and the emergency services are still operating for the sake of about 200 families who remain there. Our senior international correspondent, Orla Guerin, reports now from Nabatieh, and you may find parts of her report distressing.
The wounded keep coming in Nabatieh, bombed by Israel on their own soil, some in their own homes.
Well, within the last few minutes, a patient has been rushed in, a woman. She's being treated here in the emergency department. You can hear now that she's in pain. She's a casualty of an airstrike that we heard just a few moments ago.
She needs to be moved immediately to a vascular unit. She can't wait, says Dr. Hassan Wasni. He's head of the government hospital. He won't leave, despite the bombings. A skeleton staff has stayed with him, remaining in the hospital around the clock. Every day they treat about 20 to 30 patients injured in Israeli airstrikes. Most are civilians. Upstairs, staff rush to see where the latest airstrike has hit. Rescue workers tell us hardly an hour passes without one. In the burns unit, we meet Mohammed. He's 29 and a civil engineer. He and his friends were bringing food to elderly neighbours, he tells us, when Israel struck, killing a local policeman and leaving him with deep wounds and trauma.
It was all black, smoke everywhere. It took like about 1 minute. Then I started to recognize what is around me. Saw my friends, started talking to them, and I knew they were still alive.
And there was no warning before this strike?
No one, not at all.
And then, as we filmed, the roar of a massive airstrike. Bombs landing out of sight. But 5 minutes drive away, the impact of other strikes in Nabatieh, all too visible. Here, the ruins of an old market, dating from the Ottoman era. We get a tour from Hussein Jaber and his men from the government's emergency services. They are seeing their city and their history destroyed around them. The Israeli threat never far away.
Sounds like the drone?
As you can hear, the drone is directly above us.
So they're watching us?
Most probably, yes.
Well, we're leaving now because we've been hearing a drone over our heads, very loud, quite low in the sky, for the last few minutes.
Israel says Hezbollah is the target here, and it hides among civilians. Hussein and his colleagues say first responders are targets too. More than 100 have been killed in Israeli airstrikes across Lebanon. As we drove away, this was the only sign of life. Orla Guerin, BBC News, Nabatieh.